This is the Cool Meanderings with Dr Jerm G podcast. Thanks for listening. Welcome back to Cool Meanderings with Dr Jerm G. I'm your host, Dr Jerm G, back in the saddle for another podcast episode. Today, I've got a great recommendation for you. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has put out another movie, another hit. This one's called The Thunderbolts. You've got to go see it. It is a great film. It's an excellent film. It really is an excellent movie. It was entertaining from start to finish. I found Captain America: Brave New World to be entertaining as well, but this is on a different level because there's a lot more character development in this movie. I really like the relationship dynamics between the characters and the protagonist and antagonist. I like the layers of complexity. It was a really good movie, had some really important messages. I remember back when the film was first announced, and I thought, the Thunderbolts? Of all movies, why the Thunderbolts? I couldn't imagine the outcome of the product, but you know what? It was a pleasant surprise. It was a pleasant surprise. It was a great script, excellent script, which was delivered with near flawlessness. So it actually felt like an Avengers movie. It felt like I was sitting through like a sort of a new kind of Avengers movie. Not to put any spoilers out there, but that's what it felt like. Early in the film, when the contracted anti-heroes, which you'll recognize from previous MCU movies and TV shows, when they realize they've been set up by Julia Louis-Dreyfus's Valentina Allegra de Fontaine character, that's when they realize that this is where you get that essential character and plot development scenes that I think really do a nice job of threading the film together. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised how well the characters and the plot were developed in this film. And I have to say, British actress Florence Pugh, she's a convincing lead as a former Russian Black Widow, Yelena Belova. She is, now she's a freelancer with a guilty conscience, but she convinces. Her role in this film, her performance in the film is very convincing. I think screenplay writers Eric Pearson and Joanna Kahlo did a great job of making Yelena the central character in the film. She really is the heart and soul of this anti-hero squad. And it's a squad, man. I mean, it's a really interesting squad. And again, it's a collection of antagonists or complicated antagonists / protagonists from previous MCU films and shows, which is nice. So this movie really brings together both the Disney Plus shows and the Marvel Cinematic Universe films, kind of like what Captain America: Brave New World did, but just on a whole different level. I mean, it really does bring a lot of stuff together. And all of the members of the squad were a good fit. Their roles were balanced appropriately based on past popularity and relevance in previous MCU projects. I thought that worked well. It didn't feel forced. It felt like the people that brought this movie together understood where the characters needed to be in the story, which ones needed to have more screen time, more influence on the plot. It was really good. I loved it. David Harbour's Red Guardian, the Russian super soldier that you first saw in the Black Widow film, he stole some scenes, but not too many, thankfully. We got just enough of him. Like, they gave you just enough of his little act, which really hit well in some spots. And he was great. He was a great support to Yelena. Great addition. It really worked. It did. And, and I would say the same applies to Sebastian Stan's Bucky Barnes. Another interesting, complicated anti-hero protagonist character that I thought his role in the film, I thought was well placed. In the film, he's a politician. He's an anti-hero / protagonist / Avenger turned politician, which was interesting given the complex layers of some of the plot. But I thought Stans as Bucky Barnes did a really good job where he was fit. He wasn't overused. It didn't feel forced. And I think the same logic applies to the film's antagonists, other than Valentina. But the real antagonist, or would you say complicated antagonist, is Robert Bob Reynolds, aka the Sentry, aka the Void, played by Lewis Pullman, who I thought was an ideal character choice for this kind of story. Because listen, the Sentry / Void is super overpowered especially for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's almost like a mentally fragile version of Superman in the MCU, if that makes any sense. That's what it felt like. That mental fragility is so important to the plot of the movie. The mental instability of the Sentry / aka Void of Bob really is what saves New York, saves the planet potentially. But it's a really good. I love how they brought it together. It's an important part of it. It just shows you how important that mental fragility is to not only Bob but all of these characters. And I thought that was really, really powerful part of the story. And you get to see how this immensely godlike character, she just exists in part because of this deep personal pain. And in the end, you see how it all connects with the characters in the plot. Again, really well done story, easy to follow. And it was really a joy to watch. I mean, I was entertained, and I could see how the Sentry will affect the pending conclusion of the Multiverse saga. And there are different ways that they can take this. There's a lot that they can do with Bob the Sentry, aka the Void. We'll see what they decide to do, because obviously you have Avengers Doomsday coming up, and then Avengers Secret Wars. But there are some options. They have given themselves some options with the Sentry. So we'll see what they decide to do. But I'm gonna tell you something. To me, what makes a film great is when the movie is over and you're left wanting more. Like you're left saying, "Is that it? Is it already over?" That's how I felt after the end of this movie. I felt like, man, I want more. Like I want to see more. I want to know what's coming next. Right? That anticipation was so high. Like I left the film feeling like, man, do I have to wait another 3, 4 months, 6 months to figure out where things are going? That to me is the sign of a good film. When you leave wanting more. And that's how I felt. I was absolutely entertained. The film was easily in my top 10 of MCU Marvel Studios projects when you combine both the movies and the TV shows. Definitely in my top 10 for sure. I don't know about top 5 because there have been some gems. I would say it's pretty close to a gem, but you know what? That commercial that they put out right before the film, the ad that made the film seem almost like an indie project, I get it now. Because it has that vibe. It has an indie film vibe to it. It was really cool. It was a really cool film. And the actors really play that up. I mean, it's hard to describe, but I think definitely Florence Pugh, she was sort of and also, the larger cast, I felt like they all played into that. They play into this sort of outsiders kind of view of not only themselves but them as a collective group, right? They're the unexpected group, right? The unexpected, or accidental saviors of the moment. It was really awesome. And even Valentina herself, I mean, she kind of stumbles into this situation. You got to see it, man. You've got to go see this film. It makes you hopeful. You leave the film hopeful for what's coming with the MCU. Not only like Not only with what's coming with the Fantastic Four in the summer, but the larger thoughts on how the multiverse saga is going to come together, and even beyond. I would say, even with some of these Disney Plus projects that are coming up, I think it does give some hope, and it shows. I think Thunderbolts shows how you can nicely tie together the Disney Plus shows and the movies. And I realize that other films have done that, but this one, I think, does it in a way that is just so smooth. It doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel out of place. The movie has a really good flow. I mean, to the point where I didn't want to get out of my seat. I almost, I got some pretzel nuggets and a little bit of cheese sauce, and I thought about going to get some. I was a little parched. I had a small juice box, but I thought, man, I might need one of these, 24 ounce, 32 ounce Cokes or whatever, what have you. It may be a small bucket of popcorn. But I didn't want to leave my seat. The movie was that good. I didn't want to leave my seat. I stayed there until the end credits. That's how good it was. Very few films. I can count the films on my hand that where I felt that way. So, given that, perhaps it is in my top 5. Because, I would say the vast majority of MCU films did not leave me feeling that way. But there were some where I didn't want to get up. As a matter of fact, there are very few films in general where I thought, okay, I'm not getting out. I'm not leaving. I'm not going to leave until this is over. I don't know why I'm thinking of this, but honestly, when The Dark Knight came out in 2008, I saw it in a jam-packed theater, and I stood. There were no seats. I stood in the back for the duration of the movie. It didn't move. I stood for over 2 hours watching The Dark Knight. Did not move. Not even for a bathroom break. I just stood there watching. It was that good. It was that captivating. And to this day, I can watch Dark Knight and not get bored. It's just, and I've seen it countless times now. But some movies just get you like that. They captivate you. And I do think I felt that way during the Thunderbolts. I was actually waiting for a lull moment so I can go get some popcorn, but it never came. I thought, wow, what am I watching? This is MCU, right? But it was, I couldn't get up. I couldn't go get some popcorn or a drink or bathroom or anything. I just sat there. I thought, wow, is it that kind of movie? Am I really captivated by Bucky Barnes and Yelena Belova and Red Guardian? Man, okay. And the Sentry and Ghost and U.S. Agent. What? Really? But yes, it was that kind of movie. And I highly recommend it. I have no reason to. Marvel's not paying me. I have no incentive. This is just my opinion. Just my point of view. And I don't know if you can tell by my voice, because usually I'm a lot more chill in my podcast. But I have to say, I really enjoyed this movie. So just take that for what it's worth and go see it. It's wherever you are. Hopefully the weather is decent enough. And if it's not, even more of a reason to be indoors. And if you're going to go indoors, go watch this movie. It's good stuff. It is good cinema. Congrats to the MCU, Marvel Studios, directors, writers, everybody involved, actors. It's good stuff. And you know what? The post-credit scenes, in-credits, post-credit scenes were cool, but they weren't the best parts of the movie. Believe it or not. They were cool. And look, I'm excited about what's coming up. You have Fantastic Four during the summer. That's awesome. But I was more interested in what was gonna happen with this story. Like, what was gonna be the next move for these guys. That's how good it was. I'm just saying. Not to say that, Fantastic Four isn't highly anticipated, or that, honestly, I was probably thinking more like, now, how is this gonna fit into Avengers Doomsday? That will be interesting. I think everyone is pretty hyped up for Avengers Doomsday. And Fantastic Four to a little bit of a lesser extent. But that's okay. I think having slightly lowered expectations is sometimes good, because then you can more easily overperform and everyone's happy. Oh, what a surprise! What a pleasant surprise! This film is definitely that. This film, oh my God, I had no expectations going into this movie. When they announced it, I'm telling you, when they announced it and they started showing you the principal photography, I'm like, what is this? What is this? What the? Especially given some of the recent flops in the MCU. But man, Thunderbolts hits. It hits hard, man. It hits. It's a hit. Well, that's my review. Hopefully, I didn't give away too many spoilers. I don't think I did. But definitely go see it. It's a great day to see it, hopefully for you. And hey, if you like this episode, definitely drop me a line. You can go to my YouTube channel at Dr Jerm G. Please subscribe. And yeah, drop me a like. And hey, thanks very much, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye. This is the Cool Meanderings podcast with Dr. Jerm G.